You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, and we're going to go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And some time ago, I think it was during the Shohei Ohtani, just before the Shohei Ohtani controversy, if you will, I said, and Jackie Ray said that we'll probably going to go down this gambling path within the next 365 days. And since then, which is still less than a year ago, we've gone down that path a few times with a few players. Jonte Porter was banned from the NBA, but we also said there's probably more out there. Mm-hmm. Come to find out that the investigation which led to the banning of Jonte Porter from the NBA has now at least publicly been revealed that it included other players. Terry Rozier, formerly with the Charlotte Hornets, he was under investigation. He's given no comment, but he was being investigated for underperforming, possibly limiting minutes, possibly sending signals that he would have decreased minutes on a given game in particular. Now, no formal charges were levied and no specific acts of wrongdoing were pointed at Rozier. So let me just take this a step back, and Jackie Ray, what does this say to you when there are more players being investigated that we're not even aware of?
Aside from "we told you so," that's the first thing. And it's just a very deep rabbit hole when you're talking about gambling. One of the things about this story that I find interesting is the potential of him sending signals, which means he can go out there, he can play his game regular. And then to you or I, who are unaware of these signals, we won't know what's going on. Maybe he just scratched his ear or something, just for example. I'm not sure what they are, but there's a level of, you would have to really institute more jobs in the league, probably every league, with people just sitting around and watching players to try to see if there's anything off in their game. On top of that, you would have to have different people in the locker room when somebody's complaining about soreness or tightness in their foot or in their leg, just to make sure you have to have some sort of checks and balance on that, which obviously these things that I'm saying, they're not going to happen. So I'm not entirely sure what the fix is for this, but we knew the second we live in a capitalistic society. I don't know how many times I have to say this. When you live in a capitalistic society where money goes first, then just know people will do whatever they can to get it. People who have a lot of it will do whatever they can to get more of it. And that's what we're seeing.
For those who don't follow betting, we're talking about, at least on a small level, prop bets. You can have a prop bet that Terry Rozier is going to get fewer than 5 assists tonight. And if Terry Rozier, sorry to pick on him, but he's in the story. If Terry knows that, well, I can make a lot of money if I send a signal that my foot is bothering me and I may not play as many minutes as I usually would as a starter, then yes, he's not going to get his 5 assists in a given game.
To add on to that, though, people need to understand, yes, we've seen athletes fall down with these major injuries and you can tell immediately like they've torn an Achilles or something like that. But if you have soreness in your elbow or soreness, there's no way that a trainer is going to be able to say, you're not sore, go back out there and play. You just have to take the player's word for it. So there's no rectifying that.
And also there are little tricks that athletes can do beyond that. You could legitimately tweak your ankle and then be asked to go back to a locker and get treatment on it, which is going to take a large portion of the game. And now you're working within the confines of the rules. You're not doing anything wrong. But if you sent an advance signal, that's how people get paid. Now, there are 2 questions here, I think, for a reasonable person. The first question is what we're watching legitimate competition top to bottom? In other words, were the results of games being tweaked, or is this just individual players who may be involved on various levels to make themselves individually more money?
So again, I think when you really go down this rabbit hole, that's a great question. I think that when you're talking about investigations, specifically investigations like these, where the premise is we want to make sure that we let the public know what's going on and that we're getting in front of it because we want to protect the integrity of the league. And we want you to know as the fans that we are always above board. That's a great smokescreen. In my opinion, that is a fantastic smokescreen, because in reality, where there is smoke, there's always fire. And so again, this is not just players who want more money. These are always going to be coaches, owner, everybody wants more money. So the question should always be at the forefront's mind is this just the sacrificial lamb? Is that what we're seeing right now? Let's get this distraction over here so we can tell you, oh, but we would never.
Think of it this way. It doesn't always have to be the players. It could be someone who's a trainer, someone who just has inside information as to a player's status. Look, I'm not even absolving members of the media. I've been in locker rooms. I know if someone's going to go sometimes before a game back in the day when I was doing beat reporting. So there's no telling, to your point, how deep the rabbit hole goes. And we shouldn't just say this is a conspiracy, because there are a lot of folks with a lot of information who could choose to monetize it. That's my concern.
But when you have that many people, again, times are getting harder and harder and harder financially for a lot of people. So to your point, as a reporter in some of these rooms, we're making the bare minimum. I know sometimes, especially for those of us who are on air, it looks like we're rolling in the dough. Trust me when I tell you that we are not.
We're not.
So when you see people who, and you build these relationships with players, I can't even tell you how many times somebody has said something to me privately that I haven't shared publicly because you don't want to damage that relationship. Now, if they share something with me privately that I don't have to share publicly, but I can make that work for me financially, what are we talking about? So that rabbit hole is going to go very, very deep.
I might as well make another prediction here that I think is going to come true, that the NBA specifically, I'm not talking about baseball, not talking about football, just the NBA. The NBA is going to have another major gambling/betting scandal before the end of 2025. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I will be.
No, I'm going to up the ante. I'm going to say we'll have another betting scandal by the end of May.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And in other words, before the end of this season.
Yes. I said it. Y'all write it down.
And I can't say that you'd be wrong, if only because folks get a little too loose and a little too complacent and comfortable. And even though these investigations are going on, some knucklehead out there who may be a legitimate representative or just a friend of a representative of a player using their inside information to get rich, and then it all falls apart.
Yep. Terry might even do Nino Brown and say, if I'm going down, I'm taking the whole accusation with me.
That's a New Jack City reference. We ought to pull that clip just for that.
Were you or were you not head of the Narcotics Consortium, the murderously bloody CMB?
Yes.
I could not hear you. Would you please speak up, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I was a member. But I was forced into this way of life. Hey, look, I've been dealing drugs ever since I was 12 years old. See, I didn't have the chances that you have, Miss Hawkins. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, Miss Hawkins. I wanted to get out, but they threatened to kill my mother.
Who are you talking about, Mr. Brown? What they?
They. Look at him. Kareem Akbar. That's right, the educated brother from the bank. He's the real head of the CMB, the brains behind the whole thing.
I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof. If I'm going down, I'm taking a whole lot of people with me.
Order in the court. Order in the court.
Now on the other side of New Jack City, Jackie Ray, when we come back, let's talk about the Super Bowl. Yes, we can say it's the Super Bowl. We're not promoting any product, so we don't have to call it the big game. The Super Bowl this Sunday, and State Farm and other insurance advertisers are really pulling back on their ad spend. We'll see what that's about when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're continuing to go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray, and Super Bowl Sunday is coming this weekend. And State Farm, the insurance company, which has received a lot of bad publicity lately concerning its management of insurance policies against the backdrop of the fires in California. And also State Farm, they have not one, but multiple members of the Kansas City Chiefs who are playing in the Super Bowl as endorsers of State Farm. You would think that they'd be spending goo gobs of money on this Super Bowl like they would any other Super Bowl. But State Farm and other insurance providers, they're not going to spend any money on the Super Bowl. They're pulling all their ads. Why do you think that is, as an outsider at least, Jackie Ray?
Well, State Farm specifically, it's just a bad look to be in the biggest sports stage. And we here in California, we still are talking very, very, very bad about them. So just for the optics, it's a good idea. Now, they did say that they had thought about, at least considered, moving away from the Super Bowl before the fires. But then once the fires happened, and that's what kind of solidified it. But I think because the fires solidified it, I think this just speaks to the nature of the insurance game as a whole right now, because it's unfair to me, and this is just my soapbox, and I'm gonna stand on it. It's unfair to me that they're spending billions of dollars on advertising, but they don't want to help people get their homes fixed. So I think if
don't run by that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that, because State Farm alone last year spent $1 billion in advertising. $1 billion.
Right.
That could have rebuilt a lot of houses. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so your premium, and this is the argument that I have always had with insurance, because I've had to use my car insurance, and I've gone for, I think the last time I had an accident, I had gone for 12 years and never had an accident. And then I've been paying insurance this whole time. And then I want to go get my car fixed, and they're like, oh, we're not going to cover it. Are you kidding me? If I would have just put that money that I was giving you into my savings, I could have paid for it myself out of pocket, no problem. And so this is the problem I think a lot of us have with insurance. It's like, what are we really paying for? Are we paying you for these great advertisements? I love the guy that plays Jake from State Farm.
Shout out to Kevin Miles.
Shout out to him, because I like him, but the original guy was an actual employee for State Farm that wasn't making the kind of money that he was, because this is a trained actor, so
khakis.
Right. The first guy was great. But what are we paying for? Are we paying for your advertisement, or are we paying for you to insure our homes? Because now, in the dawn of social media, you can still get these advertisers out. You can get the word out so people will buy your insurance, and you have a brand name now. Everyone knows State Farm. You don't have to spend billions of dollars on advertisement just to turn around and rob the people who pay for insurance.
And this is a California story, because State Farm is the largest insurer of both property and cars here in California.
Yes, I have State Farm. Boo.
Let me ask you this, though. Talking about these commercials, there are other commercials which may be quasi-political, controversial. I know that Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, has this anti-hate, anti-Semitism, quasi-political ad that they're running during the Super Bowl. I wonder, because the NFL used to try to stay away from all that. Now they're seemingly more embracing that. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm definitely not going to give the right answer to that. Right now, I think we have more of it because it's needed. We live in a time right now where hate is leading the way. So I think anybody who is against hate and has the money to do an advertisement that is anti-hate, no matter what it is, anti-LGBTQ, anti-Black. We have all these hateful sentiments that I think if you have the money to do an advertisement like that, kudos to you. Go ahead and do that. It's needed right now.
I've also noticed, and maybe you've noticed it as well, I don't know there is the same clamor by companies to advertise during the Super Bowl when they know, like, wait a minute, we can get millions of views of our ad online. We don't need to spend all these dollars for one day, because most of the people have seen the ads before they even get to the actual Super Bowl. And just because you have all those eyeballs on that one day, I don't know if it has the same impact today as it did maybe 10, 15 years ago with the advent of YouTube.
Absolutely. Because, a couple years ago, I don't even say a couple years ago, for the longest time, if your team didn't make the Super Bowl, you were only watching for the commercials, because advertisers went all out on their commercials. They were funny. They were witty. Doritos actually had a competition where people would make their own commercials, and those would appear in the Super Bowl. But guess what happened like 4 or 5 years ago? All those commercials came out like a day before the Super Bowl on YouTube.
On YouTube, yep.
So now if your team's not in it, and this is the crazy thing, I always go to a Super Bowl party. If my team is not in it, I can tell you, nobody's watching that game. We having drinking games. We might be watching to see who dropped the ball. Last time I went to a Super Bowl party, we had to call each other by football names. So and if you didn't, you had to take a shot. So we're playing games. We're not really paying attention enough that you're going to speak to us as consumers.
The party is the whole point.
Exactly.
Not the game.
Right.
Not the commercials. The party is 100%. The point.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Ray, you did it again. I appreciate you coming on with your insight. I was kind of disappointed over the weekend to see my women's USC basketball team lose to Iowa. Yes. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
No, boo.
I know it was hype because it was Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement, but this is supposed to be the year for the Trojans. They're supposed to do it.
Shout out to Asia Wilson.
That's true.
She got her jersey retired as well. So I want to shout her out too. Because getting your jersey retired while you're still in your prime is a big deal. So
a huge deal. Mm-hmm. Jackie Ray, we'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And I said last year when Beyonce even dropped her first single prior to the album dropping of Cowboy Carter, her country, air quotes, country album. I said, this is to get her a Grammy for Album of the Year. Any country awards that she might have won along the way were secondary. She had never won Album of the Year, and this album, Cowboy Carter, was specifically designed for that purpose. She seemingly could not win Album of the Year as an R&B artist or as a pop artist. She's been nominated in all sorts of categories. We'll get into that. She was nominated, I think, 11 categories. She went home with 3 gramophones last night. I dipped in and dipped out of the show. I really wasn't all that into it because most of the music doesn't appeal to me, so it doesn't have the same type of allure. But I knew that people were going to be moaning and complaining today. It's like, oh, that wasn't a country album, or she didn't deserve to win. And it's the same conversation every year. You have no idea how the Grammys work. If you ask the question, how did she get 11 nominations? Well, learn the process. The people who are voting members, and that's basically everyone in the Beyonce camp, or professional camp, from producers, writers, fellow artists, they can vote on these different categories. I should say submit songs in these different categories, and the top 5 vote getters, they can vote in those for the nominations, are your nominees. Name recognition alone, it makes it very easy, or I should say easier, to get a nomination in the Grammys as opposed to other award shows. Yes, I worked in the Grammys a long time ago, but certain things have not changed. If you are organized within your group of people, your stable, you can almost guarantee yourself a nomination. Most young artists don't know how the business works. They don't know how the Grammys work. As far as Cowboy Carter getting into the country categories, the Grammys, and it started when I was there, actually, they started these nomination committees which would make sure that the records were and the music was placed in the proper categories as best they could. I remember there was this rap group called Bone Thugs and Harmony, and they had this sing-song type of rap, and there was a real question, is like, is it more music? Is it more like R&B? Or is it more like rap? And because of those discussions, they broadened certain categories. I think they have like melodic rap performance now as a direct result of those types of conversations. The point is, the Grammys, they try as best they can to categorize music with the available categories. And I'm quite sure the conversation took place between whatever luminaries on these Grammy committees, whether Cowboy Carter was more R&B, more pop, or more country. And I can't remember the exact rule, but it's about 51% of the content of the album. If the 51% of the content of the album is country or country-esque, it's going to qualify for the country category. And it did. And there are 2 rounds of ballots. There's the first round, nominees. The top 5 vote getters are the nominees for the category. The second ballot goes out, determines the winner. And remember, if you've coordinated your voting block, you can win. It's not the Grammys. When people say, oh, the Grammys got it wrong, right there, I know you have no idea how the Grammys work. It's not the Grammys. Everybody can vote in the top 4 categories: Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best New Artist, Album of the Year. Top 4. Everybody. But then it has to be specific to your expertise. I think you can vote in the top 4 and maybe like 3 other categories or something like that. I don't know. But I know with the Grammys, there is a very, very serious and dedicated operation among artists to get themselves nominated. It's an art form. It's not unlike any regular election where people are, getting out the vote. They get out the vote within the Grammy community, and that's why you'll see an artist like Beyonce. She can come out with Mary Had a Little Lamb. She's getting nominated. So if you disagree with her winning Album of the Year, you disagree with her getting Country Album of the Year, you just learn the process. Because as soon as you say the Grammys got it wrong, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because the Grammys aren't deciding anything. It's the voting members of the Recording Academy, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, not NARIS, the foundation, not NARIS, the organization. It's voters. And I could qualify to be a voter. I just never decided to become a voting member because I have enough production credits. But this is what Trevor Noah had to say. And I thought he was too cute by half, because his comedy, it was the wrong room for this type of comedy. I'm sorry, I'm going to be dismissive, but that Grammy audience, a lot of these jokes just went over their head. Here we go.
Welcome to music's biggest night. And when I say biggest, I mean biggest night, right? What the Super Bowl is to the NFL, what Valentine's Day is to romance, what Father's Day is to Nick Cannon. That's what the Grammys is to music. And if you've watched the Grammys before, welcome back. It's good to see you. If this is your first time, let me tell you what this night is, right? We're going to be honoring the best in music as voted on by the 13,000 members of the Recording Academy and 20 million.
Did you hear that? 13,000 members. So if you got the most voters in your group, you have a head start. But it's 13,000 people voting for, ostensibly for Album of the Year. It's not the Grammys.
Of the Recording Academy and 20 million illegal immigrants. And tonight, no matter what happens, history will...
That joke did not go over well with people. I'll let you hear it again.
The best in music as voted on by the 13,000 members of the Recording Academy and 20 million illegal immigrants. And tonight, no matter what happens, history will be made. Some artists, like Sabrina Carpenter or Chappell Roan, who I saw over there, may become first-time Grammy winners. Others, like Taylor Swift, Andre 3000, and Beyonce, can further cement themselves in Grammy history. And yes, Beyonce will be here tonight, right? Yeah, well, I hope she'll be here. I can't make her do anything. I'm just saying, I hope she'll be. If she doesn't show up, we'll just edit this out. It's not live. It is. There's nothing I can do. But think about it. Queen Bee is back. She's back at the Grammys with 11 nominations this year, people. Beyonce, 11 nominations this year. And she could win Album of the Year for the first time ever for her smash country album, Cowboy Carter. I don't care what anyone says. That's how you know you've clocked the game, right? When you can go into any genre and still be one of the best. 2 years ago, Beyonce won for Best Dance Album. Tonight alone, she's nominated in Best Country, Best Pop, Best Americana, and Best Melodic Rap.
And how did that happen? The same damn people are voting for her across those categories. It's just that simple. It's math. It's political science, really. It's getting out your vote. That's how it happened. It's not the Grammys. It's just understanding how the system works and then making sure that your core voters who are eligible to vote are signed up as voting members, and you make sure that they vote at the appointed times.
Now, didn't someone we know, a new friend to the show, win the Grammy last night?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. It's my pleasure to let everyone know, if you didn't know, that our guest on Thursday in studio, Corey Henry, won his first Grammy for Best Roots Gospel Album. And I would like to take all credit for that. It's kind of like when Kamala Harris didn't go on Joe Rogan. See, she lost. Okay. Corey Henry came on my show. He won. See? I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And now I need everyone to think about the year in which you were born. We're going to talk about what is your Chinese zodiac sign relative to the year you were born. Now, I know Mark is not going to tell us, so he's very, very private and personal. He doesn't let any information get out about himself. We don't even know if that's his real name because he worked with the CIA.
You know what you need to know.
Okay. Well, I should have the highest clearance. Clarence.
Maybe you do.
Okay. For birth years 1940, 52, 64, 1976, 88, 2000, 212, and 2024. Your Chinese zodiac sign is the dragon. Dragons are idealistic seekers, wearers of rose-colored glasses who believe in love and human goodness. Reckless romantics, dragons seek great escapes and doomed love affairs. Idealistic to the point of self-sabotage, they live aloft on a belief that the perfect is possible and waiting for them around the next questionable corner. Short-fused and long-winded, they make for entertaining, albeit exhausting company. For the birth years of 41, 53, 65, 77, 89, 2001, 13, and 25, as in this year. The year of the snake. Snakes are luxury-loving, jealousy-harboring creatures of habit. Sweet but suspicious snakes are leery of buy-one, get-one deals, affable strangers, margarine, and horoscopes. Their deep love of luxury items is at odds with their natural proclivity for laziness. Yet what serpents lack in hard work and true grit, they make up for it in good looks. For birth years of 42, 54, 66, 78, 90, 2002, 2014, and 2026. Horse. Horses are easily able to level charm for personal gain. Expressive and magnetic horse people easily draw friends, benefactors, and glowing reviews. Suspicion tells me Gaston from Beauty and the Beast was horse-born. Naturally inclined toward athletics and general excellence, they are easy to envy, but hard to hate. Their challenge is to use their popularity to question rather than further their status quo. For the years 43, 55, 67, 79, 91, 2003, 15, the goat. Goats are a nostalgic herd deeply invested in ancestry and family traditions. A bit unsure of themselves, goat folk need the validation and encouragement of others to boldly go beyond the barnyard of their own limitations. Birth year 44, 56, 68, 80, 1992, 2004, and 2016. Y'all are monkey. The extremists of the zodiac, monkeys oscillate between affable and feral. Like their animal totem, monkey people will astound you with their emotional intelligence or literally throw their feces at you. Extreme is their modality, and they are all equally capable of kindness and cruelty, devotion and apathy. For birth years 45, 57, 69, 81, 93, 2005, and 2017. This is mine. I was born in 69. I have nothing to hide. My zodiac animal is rooster. No. No jokes.
Of course it is.
I don't want to hear about any fighting down in Louisiana.
No. Please proceed.
Aided by a psychic skill set, roosters strut straight toward personal triumph and wild success. Okay, not wrong. Clairvoyant and calculating, roosters see what others can't and accomplish what others only wistfully muse about. Their social skills include reading the minds of strangers and plotting the downfall of competitors. Adventurous and energetic. Not wrong.
Yeah, that's weirdly accurate for as vague as these can be. Yeah.
For the birth years of 46, 58, 70, 82, 94, 2006, and 2018, you are the dog. Like the canine that represents them, dog people make for incomparable companions. Dogs are superior to people. People born in the year of the dog are inherently kinder, truer, and yes, plain better than their constituents, loyal to a fault and generous to their own detriment. The canine contingent trades in acts of service and promotes the advancement of their friends. Mindful of their own nature, they must learn to be less cautious and create clearer boundaries. For birth years 47, 59, 71, 83, 95, 2007, and 2019, pig. Is that you, Stefan?
No, you got mine already. I'm the dragon.
You're dragon? Okay.
Pretty accurate, too.
Have I gotten yours yet, Mark?
No comment.
Okay. That's what I thought. See. Pig. Swine and dine. Pigs prioritize self-care over personal gain. According to myth, the pig was more concerned with self-care than personal advancement, taking a break from the race to eat and sleep. Consequently, those born in the year of the pig are slightly indulgent and confident in the knowledge that suffering is not a prerequisite for success, and the journey is indeed the destination. For birth years of 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 2008, and 2020. Y'all are born in the year of the rat. Resourceful and ruthless, patient and intelligent, the rat was able to outsmart and outrace his competition to win first place in the zodiac. Similarly, those born in the year of the rat possess great cunning and serious survival skills, adept at staying alive, less so at sharing the wealth. Rat folk must guard against stinginess and the sharpened knife of sarcasm. Birth years 37, 49, 61, 73, 85, 97, 2009, and 2021. Y'all are the ox. Steadfast and self-punishing. Ox folk may not win the race, but they never fail to finish. Diligent and successful oxen often prioritize obligation over desire. Susceptible as they are to stomach ulcers and lower back pain from carrying too much, oxen must periodically unyoke themselves from responsibility and allow for restorative abandon. And two more. For birth years of 38, 50, 62, 74, 86, 98, 2010, and 2022, tiger. Tigers are equal parts attractive and arrogant. Ambitious and impulsive, tigers never fail to leave an impression, comfortable inventing rules and imposing their will upon others. The powerful cats know what they want and are adept at getting it. And the last one, birth years in 39, 51, 63, 75, 87, 1999, 2011, and 2023. Year of the rabbit to close out. Rabbits are kind-hearted, chronic people pleasers. Fun fact, a group of rabbits is known as a fluffle. Did not know that. Fittingly, people born in the bunny year have a soft approach to life that recalls the collected works of Loggins and Messina. Tender-hearted, they make for loyal lovers and diplomatic friends. Rabbits must guard against their own people-pleasing tendencies and the predatory intentions of others. And that is your Chinese zodiac sign relative to the year in which you were born. And Mark, were you happy with the animal?
I was one of those that you read.
Yeah, I'm aware. I said, were you happy? Were you pleased? Was it accurate? Give me something. Damn it, Jim.
They're so vague, yeah. I mean, any two or three could have applied to me.
They all could have applied to all of us.
Except yours was weirdly on the nose. I don't understand that.
I don't know. It must be some genesis.
Oh, yeah, you're the quote rooster.
Don't you dare.
You do seem rather cocksure to me.
Oh, come on.
I knew that was coming.
First one of the week.
Yeah.
There we go.
What did you say, Stefan?
Never mind.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
No need to keep hitting refresh. We got this. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.